Hey guys, Level Cap here, and today I've got some really cool stuff to talk about. One of them being the new patch for Battlefield 1 CTE, which makes some fundamental changes to grenade spam, conquest, and other things. And I'll be getting into the details of that in just a second, but first I want to go over the details of Battlefest. The DICE celebration of Battlefield is going on right now through the 1st. So basically right now and through the weekend, you'll be getting double XP for playing Battlefield. There'll be scrap rewards for playing every single day. There's going to be some battle pack rewards for logging in, and there's premium enabled parties now. So basically, if you invite a friend into a party or you join a party where one of the players in that party has the premium expansion, basically all players will be able to matchmake in any of the new maps. You won't be able to unlock the new weapons or spawn in the new vehicles, but you will still be able to play along with your friends on all the new DLC content. And I think DICE is testing this out for a potential permanent implementation so that everyone can play on the new maps as long as you have somebody in the party with premium, which I think is a really cool addition to the game. It doesn't completely solve the issue of a divided community, as you need a friend who has the expansion to play on the new maps, but it should solve the issue of friends not being able to play with each other if one of them has premium and the other does not. Now they should be able to play together regardless of the expansion status. This is a really good step in the right direction, and I think DICE is using Battlefest to test out the feature. Hopefully it will become a permanent feature to the game. Alright, now let's talk about this CTE patch that is making some very important changes to the core mechanics of the game, specifically Conquest. Now, the capture system in Conquest is changing in a big way, partially getting reverted back to the way things used to be, and partially being updated to try and reward the defending mechanic in a greater way. The first part of this system is that the capture points per flag are now being downgraded. So what used to be 1,250 points for a complete capture from start to finish is now being downgraded to 800 points total. And this also means that the bonuses you get for neutralizing a flag and completing a capture have also been reduced. So that instead of getting 250 points for a neutralize, you now get 100. And instead of getting your capture bonus of 500 points, you now only get 100. The ticks have actually been upgraded. There's more ticks now for the flag caps, and they're each worth 25 points. So there's going to be a little bit more point value in the actual ticks of the flags during the capture process. Basically, the amount of points you get for capping a flag should better reflect the amount of time you spent on a flag, and should also incentivize players to leave that capture point to pursue the next objective a little bit early, because they're not going to miss out on a huge amount of points from the final capture bonus. So this is a very good change to the way flags are being capped. Personally, I think the total points could come down even a bit further to the way that it was in previous Battlefield games, but in general, this is a very good step in the right direction. Now, the other big change being made to the Conquest system is a passive XP bonus for the team that controls the majority of the flags. The reason behind this is to try and incentivize capturing and holding points rather than constantly going on to new flag points to try and capture them and losing the points that you already control. DICE wants some defensive gameplay in Conquest, which at the moment doesn't really exist unless you just happen to be on a point and notice the enemy team is attacking that point. Then you sort of decide to defend it. But beyond that, there isn't a whole lot of incentive to sort of move between points defending ones that you already own. Personally, I don't think this passive XP system is really going to work or achieve the goal that DICE wants, because it's not rewarding the action of defending. It's just sort of saying, hey, the overall system rewards you for controlling the majority of points, so technically you should play more defensively, but it's not going to reward the defensive players. So I think DICE needs to put a bigger point incentive on the action of defending. So if you see one of your flags is getting recapped and you stop that cap, there should be a bigger bonus. If you're killing enemy players on a point that used to be yours or that they're capping it, there should be an even bigger bonus for killing those players. Or going back and recapping a point, like when you're standing on a flag and it's ticking back up because an enemy team was about to neutralize it, you should get points for just being on the flag and doing that. So basically, I think DICE just needs to add more points to the action of defending a flag versus some sort of passive XP system, which the majority of players probably won't understand. All right, now the next big change that this patch is bringing comes to grenades. First of all grenades are basically going to have a 0.3 second throw delay. This is going to make the grenades feel a lot like previous Battlefield games where you couldn't just instantaneously throw grenades out or fling them away from your body. You could throw them pretty fast, it's still technically a quick throw grenade, but having an extra 300 milliseconds on that throw delay is going to be a big difference so that somebody can't just drop a grenade or throw a grenade at you as they're dying from your bullets. This is going to change grenade combat probably more significantly than just about anything else. Also, for everyone who doesn't like the passive grenade replenish, that is replenishing your grenade without the aid of a support class, this is no longer going to happen with any grenades in the game. So this is a really good update, and you're going to need that support class to get your grenade back. In addition to that, they are reducing the blast radius on frag grenades from 7 meters to 6.3, a slight reduction there. They're also doing it to mini, impact, and light AT grenades ever so slightly. Then they're also increasing the timings on frag grenades. So basically the minimum delay is getting a 1.4 second delay from 1.3, and the fuse is going to be 0.85 seconds instead of 0.7 seconds. This is kind of a baby step in the right direction. I hope it's enough to make grenades more escapable and have people use grenades more as a way of fleshing the enemy out rather than getting instant kills. We'll have to see how it plays out. Again, I haven't been able to really get in any full games on CTE, so I'm not sure how significant this actually is when it comes to the grenade combat. Also, grenades will no longer collide with your teammates who are closer than 10 meters to you. So basically, when you're about to throw the perfect grenade at your enemy and your teammate runs right in front of you, bouncing that grenade back on you, probably getting you killed and messing up your whole offensive, this should not happen anymore. This is a small tweak, but it's a very welcome one. In an effort to try and reduce the effectiveness of anti-tank grenades, they have reduced the damage they do against soldiers by 10%. So this is going to make a minor difference in how effective they are. I was thinking 50% would be a great start and then balance from there. But again, DICE is doing baby steps with the CTE. I remember back in the day when they used to like straight up nerf the shit out of something to see if it worked and then kind of go back and balance it out and see where the sweet spot was. But now they're just kind of trying to ease it into the right area, and it just baby steps, DICE. Come on. I haven't met a single person who likes the fact that the AT grenades are basically just 2 more grenades for the assault class. There should be a mechanic in the game where if you're playing on, say, an infantry only game mode, the AT grenade should be the lesser option of some of the other gadgets for the assaulter. Like dynamite should be preferred for killing infantry over the AT grenade, because the AT grenade is for anti-tanks. It should be best for killing tanks. It should do shit damage to infantry, and the assaulters should not pick it unless their main intention is going against armor. So balance out that freaking grenade. 10% reduction is just not going to cut it. When it comes to other small tweaks, anti-aircraft cannons have had a small damage bonus or blast damage multiplier against airplanes. So they should be doing a little bit more damage. Then there's also increased damage from sniper rifles against airplanes. So infantry should get a few more tools to deal with incoming fighters and stuff like that. These are very, very minor tweaks. Nothing too significant, but it should try and tip the scales a little bit more towards the ground versus air. Now, DICE has also been making further tweaks and changes to the way that netcode works in Battlefield. They've been doing this in CTE. The last patch triggered a whole bunch of trade kills, which was something that I generally don't get a lot in Battlefield 1 and vanilla Battlefield 1. So I guess they're trying to fix that and mess around with it. Basically, they're just trying to make the game feel more accurate, get the netcode more refined, and in doing so, they're cropping up a few problems here and there. So they're just trying to fix it and finesse it. If you want to read all the netcode changes, I'll put a link to this patch in the video description. Then there's also a whole bunch of other tweaks and changes that they've made to the map balance and MCOM placement and stuff like that in the Rush game mode on the new DLC maps to try and balance it out more. There's also been a few operations tweaks, and frankly, I'll probably go and test out some of those Rush changes, or not in CTE, but when it comes out, because I can't freaking queue for operations anymore. I just don't have the patience to join into like 10 empty servers before finding one that's like halfway through a game of operations. DICE really needs to get operations in the server browser. I don't know what they're thinking or why it's taken so long for them to realize that this is the correct way forward. But anyway, patiently waiting on you, DICE. I guess I'll go try out Rush in the meantime, since that seems to be the only way I can get an attack-defend game mode these days. Anyway, I'm very excited about these CTE changes. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to really test any of them out in CTE because nobody can get a freaking game going on CTE, or maybe it's very rare that it occurs, but it does make it difficult to give feedback. I think there needs to be more incentives for players to come over and play CTE. If I do get a game in, I'll be sure to tell you guys what I think about the new changes. Ultimately, though, just from reading the patch notes, grenades are good. I definitely think they could always push grenades further in terms of nerfing them a bit, and the Conquest changes are going to be substantial, and again, I think they could go further with those. So moving in the right direction, just ever so slowly, waiting for Battlefield to get better and better, to be more and more enjoyable. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. This is Level Cap signing off.